Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over some new information we have gotten for character creation and customization in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And character creation is going to work quite a bit differently than it has in any other Borderlands games, because other Borderlands games, you're playing an already named character with their own abilities, their own personalities, and their own story. But in Wonderlands, you're actually creating your own character, which they're calling Fate Makers. So you get to fully customize that, you get to choose a class, and it's much more of a fully creating your character instead of choosing out of a handful of already created characters. So on top of the gameplay centric choices you'll make during character creation, including your choice of classes, with an eye towards the crucial multi-class system, you can let your imagination run wild with the look and attitude of your personalized Fate Maker. With a basic body type, this one or that one as your canvas, you can customize your height, facial features, hairstyles, makeup, attire, and more to your heart's content. In a nod to tabletop minis, your character will spawn in looking like a freshly glued together figurine by default, all solid gray and crying out for a coat of fancy paint. And that's actually pretty cool. So essentially how your character creation is going to work is you choose one of two starting body types and your character is going to look like a new figurine that's just all gray, and then you're going to start customizing them and making them look like a real character instead of a figurine. If you don't like crafting your appearance from scratch, you can choose from head, makeup, armor, and overall character presets, or simply randomize all of your attributes until you stumble onto something you love, which is most likely what I'll do. Your appearance has no bearing on any in-game power or prosperity, so feel free to make your Fate Maker look as weird or wonderful as you like. Another essential choice is your preferred personality: gallant, clever, gruff, or strange. Instead of role-playing as an established character with their own pre-existing past and motivations, think of the personalities in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as the general tone you take in your approach to adventure. During your quest, your Fate Maker will have plenty to say, whether that's reactions to Tina's carefully crafted campaign or biting quips on the battlefield. Your choice of personality determines how bold, pithy, surly, or downright bizarre your banter will be. And I do think this is something that's pretty cool. They're not just removing voices because it's not pre-established characters. The personality we end up choosing determines a bunch of the voice lines that's going to play out throughout the game. So your character is still going to talk, it's still going to have voice lines when you're in combat, it's still going to have reactions to the quests and all the stuff you would expect. It's just you have more choices over how that's going to come out. And each personality has two voice options to choose from. So those four personalities we went over all have two voice options. So there's going to be a total of 8 voice options, which I think will definitely help with having a little bit more variety when you're playing your character, and especially when you're playing co-op, so you're not hearing the same voice lines from the same characters being spammed over and over. So you have a lot more variety in that, especially since, as we go over in this article, you can change pretty much all of this customizations at a station like you could in every other Borderlands game. And you can alter their pitch to best suit your Fate Maker. We have personalities that are not tied to any one body type, gender, past, anything like that. So it was a very different kind of challenge to create voices that still felt unique. Each of them has to be fulfilling whether or not you're playing solo. So we came at it from the perspective of tabletop gamers, thinking what are the archetypes that we as writers fall into when we're starting a new game or rolling a new character. Even after you've created your character, you can completely reshape their appearance using one of the quick change kiosks. If you want to change everything about your appearance halfway through the game, go ahead. Did you find a customization pickup that makes your skin look like gemstone and now you want to make a whole different look? And they also mention in here that there will be tons of customization options that are drops in the game that you can get from killing different enemies or doing different objectives. And we're able to alter all the core aspects of your character whenever you go to one of those kiosks. And that includes body type, personality, and pronouns. So pretty much anything you can customize, you can just go and change that whenever you want. And for voice lines, that's pretty nice with 8 total voice lines. And since personality also plays into the different voice lines you have and choosing the 2 different voices from each personality, if you're getting sick of having the few different voice lines in combat, you can just go change it up really quickly and get some new ones. And something that's really cool with this customization is that you can actually turn on a setting to be able to just turn your character into a crazy looking monstrosity. day. Because at a baseline, all the different settings you would have to change, say, like your lips or your ears or your face would have sliders that only allow you to go so far in each direction. But when you engage slider overdrive, there's no lifeguard at the pool. You want a giant nose that clips through giant lips. You want a helmet that clips through a mask. You want your eyes rotated 90 degrees, or you want to have one eye rotated differently than the other eye. Go for it. So you're essentially just able to turn on a setting and make your character look as ridiculous as you want. And then there are also banner customizations. So customizations don't stop at your abilities, demeanor, or outward appearance. You can also express yourself via lavish banners and heroically posed statues. Whenever you emote in-game, your banner will back up that animation, and it is also used to mark when you've saved the day across the Wonderlands. When you beat dungeons, your banner will show up there in the overworld to show that you've been there and conquered it. You can choose your banner shape, pattern, and icon, plus a color for each. And like most of the customization types, you start out with a lot of choices, but then you unlock a lot more choices as you play the game. They draw from enemies, such as customization pickups, either from specific enemy armies like skeletons or goblins, or from bosses and badass enemies in general, because the tougher the kill, the more cool stuff we should give you. You now have banners that you have a multitude of different customization options for, that you get a bunch at the start, but you also get a ton of customizations just from playing the game, killing enemies, killing bosses, killing badasses, and you're going to get customization options as drops for pretty much everything, not just your banner, but also your character, face, clothing, all that type of stuff. Once you've completed some deeds worth commemorating, you'll also be immortalized with statues of your Fate Maker throughout Brighthoof, which come in a variety of materials from classic marble to carved wood and radiant crystal. It's not just one statue, they're all over the place to celebrate you. They'll look like you and your friends if you're playing in co-op. By the time you have a full party of 4, it's you in the background in your pose, and then your 3 friends statues behind you, all in their poses. So then there's going to be statues also placed all over the world with you if you're in a co-op group. It'll also have your friend statues everywhere. So there's a lot of additional customization in Wonderlands. And then we also get a confirmation of max level on launch. If character creation is the first step of your journey, you can think of the end game as the ultimate destination. As you level up your Fate Maker to a cap of 40 on launch, you'll be making all kinds of meaningful choices, like stat distribution, synergistic builds with your skill trees, and the gear you bring into each encounter. Speaking of which, there will be plenty of legendary gear to chase after across the Wonderlands, whether that's simply to experiment with their unique effects or to use them as the crown jewel in your perfect character build. And then they also mention a few of the legendary weapons that are really interesting. So first, there's Rain of Arrows, a black powder shotgun that fires 5 projectiles, but it doesn't fire bullets. It fires 5 arrows in an arcing pattern that you actually have a targeting reticle in the world to show where those arrows go. When they land, they call down a rain of arrows at that location, so it does a bunch of damage over time at the location you put it. And we actually got to see this in one of IGN's gameplay videos. It's essentially a shotgun that when you fire it, it brings up a targeting reticle that you can move around to place wherever you want. It's a big circle, and then when you place that circle, it rains down a hail of arrows in an AoE in that area. So it's pretty unique compared to most legendary weapons in Borderlands games. And then they also talk about the new sword Explosion, which is a gun from Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep that they rebuilt. Now it fires swords that stick into enemies, and if you've got a sword stuck in somebody, the alternate fire mode spawns a giant ethereal sword underneath them that shoots up and does a bunch of damage. And I am very interested to see this animation. So essentially you have this weapon that every time you shoot an enemy, it sticks a sword in them, and then you can use your alternate fire, and a big sword just comes out of the ground and pretty much stabs them and does a bunch of damage. And already from 2 legendary weapons are telling us about, it definitely seems like they're being as creative as they possibly can to make these new legendary weapons and items, which I'm very excited for. But that's pretty much all the new information we have for customization. We also got that pretty big information that max level is going to be level 40. So some very exciting stuff. It seems like we're going to have a lot more customization than we've had in previous Borderlands games. And I'm very, very curious to see what we're going to be getting for the end game, because they keep teasing the end game of Wonderlands, and we haven't really gotten a lot of information about what the end game is going to entail, because they are having specific end game content on release for the game. But that's pretty much all I want to go over. So subscribe if you want to see more Wonderlands or other videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about the customization we're going to be getting. And thanks for watching.